Hi, this is Linda Bustos from GetElastic, and in today's 5-minute webinar, we're going to talk about how to recover abandoned carts without an email address. This is a segment of a longer webinar, which is linked in the description above, called Killing the Conversion Killers: Insights from Real-World A/B Tests.
A little old school tactic that still remains: if you can get an email as early as possible, please do so, but not everybody makes it to the checkout. Not everybody successfully gives you an email address then abandons so that you can send a cart recovery email. However, if you do get the email, consider A/B testing these actual emails, right? Not just the timing, not just the offer in it, but even things like view my cart or complete my order. You would think that complete my order is the stronger call to action and that this would convert a little bit better because it's like, yes, I want to complete. But actually it was the boring, like, just view my cart. 33% higher click-through rate, and that is nothing to bark at, to take a little dog pun, because there's a dog here. I don't know if you can see it. And then also we have another tactic. Instead of showing them multiple items that were still in their cart, just pick one and make the image bigger. They didn't share the absolute conversion rate numbers on this, but they said that this larger one product image was higher click-through and conversion. And Conversion XL also blogged about this too and said that the same tactic converted better for them as well, for their A/B testing clients in retail. We've been talking about this a lot on GetElastic, about chatbots and how you can use them for remarketing. And one of the advantages of sending a direct SMS or, an instant message directly to somebody's app is that these messages get up to 90% open rates. And when we're talking about traditional retail email, that could be anywhere from 2 to 20%. So we're looking at a much higher open rate. And the beauty of this too is that you don't need to collect an email address. So if they visited your site, added something to cart, and then took off, if they were logged in to their Facebook account, they have a Facebook remarketing pixel that gets dropped on your site, and then you can use it. And again, here are just 3 examples that I've collected, but there's different elements that you can test. So you could test, offering a discount to check out now, use this kind of urgency. You can test this kind of verbiage. You can use this more customer service kind of thing, like, hey, just to let you know, we've saved it for you, poke, poke, poke. Or you could take more of a conversational commerce kind of thing, like a chatbot would say, do you still want this? Hey, you can get it now. Testing different types of approaches and initiation. Also, exit intent pop-ups. So you can kind of detect after somebody has been in a cart and they start doing that slow scroll back, the mouse movement back up here, or on mobile, there's special coding that you can do that will detect a quick scroll back up to the top or a use of the back button that can trigger one of these exit intent pop-ups to finish your order. I just want you to keep in mind that if you're going to ask somebody who's abandoning to enter their email and then go into their email and find a string of alphanumerics that they're going to have to come back to your site, remember, and then plug in, you just might not have the same conversion left as if you do something where, you spell it out what the discount is and give them a one-tap return to the cart, auto-apply the discount, and add a little bit of urgency there. That's a stronger tactic that if you can do it programmatically, you're going to have better results from. So here is the one A/B test that I could dig up on this exit intent tactic for e-commerce. And I'm going to criticize it a little bit because my preference would be for a modal window like this to just test one element, all things equal. So here they did a couple things. So they got complete purchase and go to my cart. And if you were tracking along a few slides back, we talked about how these look similar enough. What's the big deal? But that can be up to 33% difference in click-through rate, right? Here's another thing too. It's kind of odd to have the decimals here. And what really bothers me is this idea of store credit, because store credit kind of feels like the retailer that didn't want to give you your money back when you didn't like the product, and they kind of hold you hostage by their store credit. So it's kind of a negative connotation there. And this really odd, like $4.25 is a Starbucks, right? But here, 10% off, this is just stronger, right? So it's not surprising that this one outperformed by 21%. But again, you might want to do some radical redesigns on your homepage or other areas of your site, test 3 or 4 things at a time. But if it's something like this, a very specific offer where there's a very specific metric that you're following, just be a little bit more precise with this kind of stuff.
For more 5-minute webinars, please follow us on our LinkedIn page, GetElastic. We are at GetElastic on Twitter and Instagram TV, and you can always hashtag 5-minute webinar to pull up everything we posted in this series. Thanks. See you soon.